Hey, chuckleheads, how you doing? Ram here. If you're wondering why I'm dressed like Elton John's pool boy at the Ren Fair, it's because we just got back from PowerCon, the annual convention celebrating all things He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And because Nick made me wear this.
You're gonna wear the fucking costume.
Why?
Because I'm paying you to.
See, this attitude is why everybody talks shit about
Are you
you.
fucking record? Turn off the fucking phone! Turn it off!
Anyway, while PowerCon definitely has its share of costume weirdos and panels about Lou Scheimer's fetish art collection, the main draw is the dealer floor, chock full of vintage toys and collectibles. And we were able to drop in and chat about some of the more unique items we came across with the dealers selling them, such as Billy Galaxy at Billy Galaxy Toys, who told us that he's on a mission from God. And that mission is
to spread my love of Necklace Fortress to outside of Japan. Nobody seems to know what these guys are, but they're like the perfect cross between Monster in My Pocket, Muscle, Dungeons and Dragons, and H.P. Lovecraft or something. They did 8 different series of these. There are, I think, 40 characters in each series, so I don't know. Y'all do the math. Everyone came with a character card as well as an accessory card. And then these actually had playable game rules on the backs. Actually pretty complex. And these are technically candy toys. Candy toys were super popular in Japan because you're not allowed to sell toys in a grocery type of setting, but if you're selling food that happens to include a toy, then you're allowed to sell it there, which is why you see so much of this type of stuff in Japan. These amazing little things are packaged with like the worst candy in the world. It's the equivalent of Pez here, except you get a cooler toy out of it.
But if cheap candy isn't your thing, maybe the eye candy that Mark at Premier Grade Collectibles was peddling is more your speed.
So what we have here is a Masters of the Universe vintage poster, 1985. This is a pretty great poster. Mattel used to release posters to promote Masters of the Universe annually. And so this is the poster that was promoting the Horde faction. What's great about this poster is that it had never been displayed before. So there's no tack marks, there's no folds, there's very little creasing aside from what would have happened in the factory roll. Very rarely do you come across posters in this condition, and you can see that in the bottom left-hand corner, it has the Mattel Incorporated 1985 Hawthorne, California. Typically in the reproductions, that's missing. So it's an exceptional poster, it's a great piece, and it's just something great to have for any Masters of the Universe He-Man collector.
And speaking of Masters of the Universe collectors, most of the time the biggest collectors are the dealers themselves. Jay at Yojo Depot is one of those guys who can't keep his nose out of his own supply. Check out this rare Snake Mountain gumball bank he scooped for his private collection.
So a buddy of mine reached out to me on the way to coming down here to unload for the show. He doesn't know a whole lot about Master of the Universe, so he sent me a picture and he said, hey, are these things worth anything? And I said, are you seriously, you got these? And he said, yeah. He also got the Grayskull one. So I paid $40 a piece for them. I'm like, these things go for like $300-400. And I said, I already got the Grayskull one. I really want the Snake Mountain. And if you're cool with it, I'll give you $300 for it. And he's like, yeah, that's totally cool. Like my personal collection now is like the weird oddball stuff. And I heard about this, I've never seen one. And so when it came up, it was like, I had to have it.
That's what I said about a prenup when I married my third wife. And speaking of mistakes that should have never been made, Scott at Planet X Toys filled us in on the regrettable knockoff line known as
Galaxy Heroes. Galaxy Heroes is one of those long lines of He-Man but not He-Man dime store toys that are crazy weird. What's great about them? They're cheap. They used to be cheap. These are vintage. They're gonna cost you an arm and a leg.
anyone willing to self-amputate could find themselves the proud owner of figures such as the one who Scott lovingly refers to as
Mustache Man. What is this guy's job? I don't know. Is he gonna fight monsters? Is he gonna hire monsters? That's the great thing about these toys, is your imagination can make it happen and be anything you want. This is like the monster to like after the battle, he's the one cleaning up. Like he's picking up the swords off the ground and eating somebody else's lunch. That's this dude.
I lost my lunch after seeing that price tag. But if you like knockoffs, you probably like bootlegs too. And I know a guy. Andreas at Toy Atomico had one that goes boom boom.
This is a bootleg Megatron, and I believe it's from Argentina. What's interesting for me is the instruction booklet It's like half the size of the original, and they stapled it on the corner. This is the first time I've come across this kind of a knockoff Megatron. I think they're pretty interesting.
Someone should have stapled an instruction manual to my third wife's forehead. But if you love bootlegs from Argentina, then you want to meet Arturo of Los Eternian Pimps. Because
We love bootleg from Mexico, and now bootleg is so difficult to find.
but when it comes to rare fake toys, there's none rarer or faker than, faker.
We have a different size in the Mexican bootleg. Faker in this size is original bootleg made in the 80s. They use this mold, inject the plastic and blue color.
But before you go looking to buy an authentic vintage bootleg faker, you need to know how to not get fleeced with a bootleg.
We have this faker. People who collect bootleg knows that this faker is new. They make this faker like 4 or 5 years ago, and look the difference. They use another mold, different mold.
So, big faker, new. Little faker, vintage. Don't get faked on your fakers. Capiche?
To find a bootleg of this size, so hard. And it costs a lot of money.
And speaking of lots of money, we dropped in on Alan at the Eternia Dreams booth, where he showed us this complete Eternia playset in working conditions.
This has definitely been the centerpiece of our booth.
But this wasn't even the craziest thing he had. That would be this extremely rare set of European-only release He-Man and Skeletor laser figures.
It's been the #1 asked about item the entire week. Here they are in person. We got laser powered He-Man, laser light Skeletor. This is the Italy version, all sealed on card. They're not graded. We put them in acrylic to keep them safer. So if anybody wants one, hit us up.
The pair will set you back 4,500 clams, which, if you ask me, is a lot of money to spend on something that doesn't wear 6-inch heels and boast about its non-existent gag reflex. But hey, to each his own, right? That was PowerCon 2021. Now it's time for me to get out of this ridiculous getup and go get a COVID test. See you next year, dumb shits.